Oh, coffee. Yep. Test.
Yo, so who won? Did we find out what the election results were?
No.
So,
Biden's. Nevada, bro. Nevada said 7 o'clock last night. They were like, "Yo, we're done, bro."
really?
I was like, "Bro, the whole country is waiting," and they're like, "We'll pick it up tomorrow morning, guys.
Oh, yeah, I'm saying there's 75% reporting.
We'll pick it back up tomorrow."
That means they
Like-
counted the votes and just didn't like the results.
Bitcoin is at almost
I don't know. That's gotta mean something.
What?
Fucking Nevada, bro. They just stopped counting. They just said, "All right, we'll be back tomorrow." Like I just don't understand the. Come on, bro. This is not, there's a fucking entire world waiting for this
Yeah, it's
shit.
not something that you're like,
Okay, you guys
we'll get it
can't-
done later.
Yeah, it's like, bro, come on, bro. You guys can't stay there till like 11 o'clock or something, 10 o'clock at night, finish up, No.
Arizona's not done either, or Pennsylvania.
Not, Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Arizona because a lot of places are claiming it already for Biden. So apparently,
Arizona's at 88%. And there's a $69,000 vote deficit.
Oh yeah. If you even want.
Pennsylvania looks like it's strong. It's a big gap.
But all he needs is Nevada, right? Because if he wins Nevada, it's done.
no, he needs Arizona too.
I think he got her.
Mhm.
No, that's what I'm saying. Apparently, maybe not.
No, he doesn't.
No?
69,000 more votes for Biden.
This day right here?
Mhm.
How long does it put in for?
Pretty fresh. Well, it came open, there's like a few missing, it's weird, craziest thing. Damn, you got munchkins too? Damn, bro, you're not making this easy. Oh, man.
I know I didn't eat that because I'm on the back.
What's up? I was-
Not something out of the box.
I'm not on a diet, I'm just eating like less calories.
What's that? Oh, the croissant.
Just water.
That's fun.
Do you?
Mhm.
Somebody just went to the government.
Wait, how do you do this? How do you do it?
Oh, no, never mind. They must have came back out. It's cool. We'll wait. All right. Yeah, you want to make sure that you mention your professional expertise as well in the bio, not just keep it 100% personal. So once you finish that, you kind of go into the steps of buying of finding your home. So if you look at this page down at the bottom, every page at the bottom sort of kind of tells you where you are. So right now we're talking about the home buying process. Okay. So step one, finding your home. All right. And this actually was pretty cool because it kind of serves also as a guideline for newer agents as well. So if you're a newer agent and you're like, I haven't even done a purchase yet, this actually helps you out great too, because it's kind of like a roadmap for you as well. So you obviously want to study this, make sure you know it. You don't want to be reading it as you're going. So make sure you go through this and know it very, very well. But you would go through the pages. Step one, initial consultation. Understand your objectives, priorities, and timeframes. All right. I should probably also add to that your motivation. Examine local market conditions. Oh, let me get this person in here. Examine local market conditions, discuss lending qualification, and define how we will work together. Okay. So guys, when you're having that initial consultation, a lot of times maybe you've already spoken about these things by the time you get to this point, but you want to just verify it. And if you haven't had this discussion, you need to ask those questions. Okay. A good acronym to remember, guys, is the LP MAMA acronym, to remember what questions you should be asking during this period, so that you get the information that you're trying to get. The Remember this, guys. It's not on here, but just write it down what the LP Mama means. LP, location, price. Okay, so you want to make sure you ask them about location. What is the areas that are important to them? What areas are they looking into? Are they looking into Miami Lakes? Are they looking into Pembroke Pines, Plantation, Coral Springs? What areas are they interested in? Price. What's the price range they have in mind? A lot of times they've already been looking at homes. They already kind of have an idea of what homes they like and what homes are in those price range. So that's the LP. The MAMA part, MAMA, is motivation. So make sure you ask them why. So why did you decide to buy a house? Why are you looking? What's your current situation? Why are you moving? Okay. A lot of times, a lot of the answers is, well, I'm tired of renting. Sometimes the answer is, I live with my mom. I don't want to live with my parents anymore. I'm living with the in-laws. Sometimes it's I need more space. Sometimes it's I need less space. So that answer could be a lot of different things. Sometimes it's I'm getting divorced. It could be various things, but you always want to know what is motivating the client to move, and what essentially you're looking for is urgency. You're looking for somebody who is serious, who really has a need to buy a home, and who's somebody who is like really wanting to do this and is committed. All right. A lot of times, somebody, a bad motivation, not bad, but I would say somebody that you got to look out for is, somebody that's comfortable, maybe somebody that's like, well, I want to buy, but I'm living with my parents and I'm fine right now. But if I find the right home, I'll buy. Okay, that means they pretty much got to find a house that checks all their boxes to be able to move, essentially. And that's a tougher client. They're motivated. They could be pre-approved, but you're gonna have to make sure you find the perfect house for them, because they don't want to. A lot of times there's no need. There's nothing pushing them. A lot of times when couples are, you have a husband and a wife, maybe they're newly married, you can tell sometimes that, maybe the husband is comfortable where I'm fine where I'm at, but it's the wife pushing. You can usually pick stuff like that up when you really start getting to know the buyers. You want to make sure that there's something like that. There's some urgency, there's motivation there. Next, agent. So the second A about in the mama, agent, you always want to ask if they're working with an agent. Regardless of if they're working with an agent or not, I guarantee you most agents are not sitting down and doing a buyer consultation and elaborating on the process the way you are. But by the time you finish this presentation, they're gonna be two things. They're gonna be very well educated, but at the same time, they're gonna be like, wow, I really need to make sure I need an agent to help me with all this, because it's gonna feel overwhelming to them at the same time. All right. So you always want to ask, are they working with an agent? If they are working with an agent, guys, on Chime, there's a smart plan for clients that are working with agents that you could just set them up, and it's gonna kind of hit them up little by little, and it's gonna then eventually start getting into, hey, are you happy with your agent? Is your agent showing you the right properties that you want to see? things like that. So it's great for them. The minute you see they open that email and they looked at it, you could do a little follow-up call and try to talk to them and see if they want to switch agents. But the idea with that is that don't let it discourage you if they have an agent. Guys, the reality of it is most agents out there, they're not professional. Most agents out there, they suck. I mean, for lack of a better word. Okay. And you guys that are working in this industry, I mean, most of the agents out there, they're not responding to phone calls. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. So make them see that. Make them see that. Be like, listen, well, if you want another thing too, is if you're a full-time agent, guys, mention to them. A lot of times, I know that's a line that a lot of full-time agents will use versus you guys that are part-time agents. Oh, is your realtor full-time or is he part-time? Because I do this full-time. It's not a side, a little side thing that I do. So the full-time agents have a little advantage that they use lines like that, and then they'll make the client think it's like, yeah, you know what, my agent is kind of like, I don't know if they do this full-time. I think they just do it on the weekends. So you want to make sure, it's a little line there that you can use as well. The other M in the mama part is mortgage and money. So you want to ask them about their mortgage or money. Are they buying cash? Are they pre-approved? Ask them about how much are they putting for a down payment. Ask them, start getting questions asked that make sure that they know. Are they, that once they start answering questions like that, oh yeah, I got pre-approved. Oh, I know, I want to put, $20,000 down. These people are serious. They want to move forward. They're very serious. A lot of times, if you get an I don't know, it doesn't necessarily mean they're not serious. They just maybe they really don't know. But a good buyer that's gonna not waste your time, that's solid. Usually, a lot of times they already have an idea of what they want to put down. So this is a great time to bring up, getting pre-approved. And next, guys, appointment. So the last one in the LP Mama is the last A stands for appointment. So remember that acronym, guys, and that just serves as a little guide on your initial talk with them. If by the time you're doing this presentation, if you haven't already know that information, you can ask them that here at this point. Besides that, guys, just the time frame that goes along with motivation. It's like, when are you looking to move by? The question I've always asked for many years is, in a perfect world, by when would you like to be in your new home? And what you want to hear, the answer you want to hear is right away, or by Christmas. And you want to hear something in the next 2 months, a month or two. That lets you know they're serious. If they start, well, ideally in a perfect world, 6 months, next year, and you start thinking like, okay, that's not bad either. But this client they might not have the motivation to like, hey, let's get this moving fast. So that just means you might find the perfect property for them this weekend, and they might not necessarily jump on it, or they might not put that best offer that they should put because for whatever reason they might not be in a huge rush. So you want to ask them about what they're looking for, guys. What is the reason they're moving? They need more space, so you want to make sure how many bedrooms you're looking for. Do you need a yard? Do you need a garage? There's a questionnaire. I'll try to send it out to you guys. There's a questionnaire. It's like a test for buyers. It's got I forgot, it's like 50, 70 questions in there that you should ask buyers. I don't recommend. I was taught to ask buyers that whole entire list of questions, and I never did that. I thought that was ridiculous because you're literally sitting there just asking questions to a buyer for an hour if you're going through that whole list. But it gives you an idea of what questions to ask, and out of those 70 questions, whatever is in there, probably a good 15, 20 of them are really important that you want to make sure you know. Define how we will work together.
Guys, Victor, sorry, where can you find those questions again?
I'll send them to you. I have them.
Ah, bueno.
Make a note. Yeah.
You're so good.
Yeah, it's called a buyer questionnaire. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to everybody. I'll put it on the chat. Okay. So yeah, guys, define how you will work together and explain the process. Your representation, you're gonna help them find homes. You're gonna meet them at the properties, show them tours, and and ultimately help them find a home and put an offer. Financing, guys, obtain a pre-approval letter and a DU from lender. Perfect time to bring up what a DU is, because a lot of times sellers are going to ask for that. So it's perfect time to kind of explain what the DU is, because sometimes, you know, they might not even know what's that. You know, they might ask you. So it's a good point to bring that up. Determine budget and price range of the house. Prepare proof of funds of purchasing cash. Remember, if you're purchasing cash, basically some sort of bank statement showing or balance sheet showing that you have the funds to be able to buy the property is what you're going to need. Going a little further down, home shopping. Set up an online home search. Basically, what that means is setting up the drip campaigns, guys, or the property alerts. You want to set up an online home search, toward properties that match your home search criteria, and monitor market activity. So this is what we're going to do during the home shopping process. All right, number one, you're going to be set up on a drip campaign that's going to send you properties every time something new hits the market within your criteria. You're going to get notified within seconds of it. All right. After that, you know, we'll tour properties that are matching your criteria, properties that you're interested in, and we're going to monitor market activity. What that means is we're going to keep an eye on, you know, where things are moving. Okay, what properties are hitting the market, how fast are they selling on the market. All right, there's some areas right now where there might not be too much inventory, and some of these homes are moving out of, you know, less than 5 days and they're off the market, in some case 1 or 2 days. There's some areas where, you know, you might have more time. You might have 15 days, 20 days, and you'll see homes that still sit around that time. Usually those homes are not the best homes in those neighborhoods, but they still last that long. And then finally, make an offer. Make an offer, review comparable sales, and discuss appropriate offer strategies. Super, super important, guys. You want to make sure that they're aware that when it comes time to put an offer, we're gonna review sales. We're gonna review appropriate. We're gonna review the comparable sales. Okay, and based on that, we're gonna determine, you know, what the best offer we should put is. Okay. Prepare detailed offer package and sign purchase contract. Make sure they know, you know, we're gonna have to sign a purchase contract, and then hopefully we get to negotiate the best price possible for your new home. All right. Now, these next steps are a little brief. Okay. One thing that you're gonna see is that we're later on in the presentation we get into a little more details on this. So pretty much these are the steps to the home buying process. As far as, you know, the beginning, you know, finding from when you're initially meet to making an offer. Further down, we go to step 2, under contract. So what you want to explain to the client is, you know, once you're under contract, number one, you know, you're gonna have to put an escrow deposit on the property. So you want to identify the title company. We want to submit the purchase contract and place that initial escrow with the title company. Usually within 3 days is the default time that we have. We're also going to submit the info to the lender, submit purchase contract to lender for processing, conduct loan application with the lender, and then the lender orders the appraisal. Again, another thing, little things like this, putting that in there, it's going to also help you guys get less questions, because the clients can always kind of go back to this and read it, and I guarantee you they will. They'll go back and kind of have an idea, and they'll understand that, because that question most buyers have always asked me, oh, how do we order the appraisal? Big question that constantly comes up. We'll do an inspection, so conduct property inspection on the roof, electrical, plumbing. Also we'll conduct the review of any seller's disclosure and HOA documents if applicable. Great moment to talk about the seller's disclosure. Seller's disclosure doesn't always apply, but what it is basically that the seller has to disclose any any defects with the property that are not observable, that you can't see, that might affect the value of the property. They have to disclose. Sometimes they do that in written form. Sometimes they do that just verbally. So it's a good time to mention that. And then inspection review. If major issues are discovered during the inspection, negotiate repairs, seller credit for closing costs, or negotiate price. So you're kind of just giving them a little roadmap, a little outline of what the process is. Finally, step 3, guys, the closing process. Lender gives clear to close. So you confirm CTC with lender, review closing documents, and confirm closing costs are correct. So that's one thing that, you know, we'll do. and then you will wire the cash to close. Sometimes people call it different. A lot of the companies I work with, they call it cash to close, to the title company. So that'll be whatever your remaining closing costs and your down payment minus whatever that escrow deposit is. That's the money you got to bring to the closing. Okay, so the escrow deposit will get credited. We'll also do a final walkthrough of the property, confirm that property conditions, confirm property conditions, make sure everything is as it should be, and that if there was any repairs to be done, we also confirm that as well. Submit purchase contract and place initial. No, sorry, that shouldn't be there. I gotta remove that. And then key time, guys. Coordinate closing time and location with title company. You'll wire the cash to close prior to the closing time, and sign closing documents and loan funded. Yeah, I gotta edit this on the marketing platform. I'll fix that. But basically, guys, what this sort of is, these first few slides is just kind of like a little roadmap, and then it kind of goes a little deeper. Okay, but it's just like a little roadmap of kind of what the process is. You want to understand that at the same time, we're not trying to. There's more than that. I mean, there's title order, there's survey, there's homeowners insurance, there's a lot of things. So I feel like too much is a little overwhelming to put on here, especially since the next few parts of the presentation get a little more detailed. But it just gives them a little roadmap. Hey guys, this is kind of like what the steps are gonna be, okay, with buying your home from the time we're meeting today all the way until you get your key. Okay, so kind of gives them a little roadmap of what the process is. All right, so next we're just going to talk a little bit about the loan process. So educate your buyers on what the process for financing is going to be. Talk about financial pre-approval. You're going to do an application with the loan officer, and a lot of times you'll do an interview. You'll either meet with them in person, or you'll do it over the phone or via Zoom. Buyer provides financial documentation if necessary. Buyer provides financial documentation necessary. So they'll provide, last 2 pay stubs, last 2 W-2s, last 2 years tax returns, last two months of bank statements. And credit report is pulled. So great for them to know. Another question that pops up all the time is my credit gonna get? When are they pulling my credit? Well, at the time of getting the pre-approval, you're gonna get your credit's gonna get pulled. Once you're under contract, your loan package is going to be submitted to the underwriter for approval. Okay, so your loan, basically what the underwriting department does is just, they underwrite the file. They make sure that, all the I's are dotted, all T's are crossed, and that you truly qualify for this loan based on their guidelines. Again, the loan officer, what he does is upfront, he kind of looks at your information and says, okay, yeah, you're pre-qualified. The underwriter, somebody that works, another layer deeper at the bank, and they're basically just verifying everything. Sometimes, depending on your situation, they might ask for additional documentation. Once it goes through underwriting will give a loan approval. So all parties are notified of a loan approval. Lender communicates with the title company to prepare closing documents. Once you get your loan approved, essentially, I mean, you're pretty much almost home free. The lender will communicate with the title company, and they'll put a closing package together, which will essentially be the closing documents that you'll be signing. As far as the title company goes, I threw that in there. Title company, they just confirm that title is free and clear of any liens, and they issue title insurance policy. Great part to sort of bring that up. Title insurance policy is basically a policy. The title company verifies that, you can own that property free and clear of any issues. The title insurance policy will protect you in the event that somebody, from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, tries to come back and say that they are the rightful owner of the property, or somebody tries to say, I have the right to put a lien on this property, or something kind of pop up in the future. The title insurance protects you from that, and they cover that. So you want to make sure that you sort of explain to them briefly there what the title company. Now the title company does a lot more, but again, when you're doing this consultation with the client, you don't want to jump into so many deep details. And then finally, funding. Once closing documents are signed by all parties, title company will wire the loan funds to the seller, and you're closed. Your loan's funded. You should have your keys at that time. Now down here we have a very important section. Why pre-qualify? So I put here, we recommend our buyers get pre-qualified before beginning their new home search. In a seller's market, homes enter into a contract within a few days of hitting the market. And right now we're in a seller's market. We want to avoid the frustration of not being able to make an offer on the home you fall in love with by setting you up for success from the very start. So from the very start, you should be pre-approved. What you don't want to happen is we start looking at homes. We go out Friday night. We see a beautiful home, you love it. We can't get a pre-approval until Monday or Tuesday, and then by the time the weekend ends, that property's gone. It's off the market. Let's set you up from success from the start, and let's make sure you have your pre-approval ready to go. So at the minute we see a property you love, we're able to put an offer immediately. Okay. So always bring that up because in the event that they haven't been pre-approved yet, by the time you're having this consultation, it's always good to mention that. If they're already pre-approved, then you can just go over the process of funding the home, and obviously they're already pre-qualified, so you don't have to go through this. Next, guys, making an offer. So you want to talk about that, and this is very important, and this is something that you really want to make sure you set the expectation from the very beginning. So making an offer, once we have found the property you want, we will write a purchase contract. While much of the contract is standard, there are a few areas that we can negotiate. Number one, the price. So I put a little description here. What you offer on the property depends on a number of factors, including its condition, length of time on the market, buyer activity, and the urgency of the seller. While some buyers want to make a low offer just to see if the seller accepts, this often isn't a smart choice because the seller may be insulted and decide not to negotiate at all. In some cases, buyers offer above the asking price to beat other offers. So you don't have to read that just like that when you're presenting this to a buyer, but sort of summarize it in your own words. So listen, conditions, the comps all vary. But a lot of what's going on right now in our market is what's the buyer activity? How many buyers are looking in this neighborhood? A lot of times buyers especially new buyers, especially those that don't have a lot of urgency, they just say, I want to offer whatever low ball offer. And you got to let them know a lot of the way the market is now, there's a lot of situations where you're not, some agents will review and give you an answer as your offer comes in, meaning you submit your offer, they'll review it with the seller and give you a response. Okay, some do that. Most, okay, do it in an opposite way. They're collecting offers, and then they're making a decision, and they're not giving you a chance. They're not coming back to you with a counter offer. So you have to explain that to your clients, that a lot of times they're not coming back to you with a counter offer. So you might send a low offer thinking, oh, well, I'm gonna send an offer at, $450. They're asking $500. I'll send an offer at $450. Maybe I'll get them down to $475. No, you won't even have a chance to hear back a counter at four nothing. They're gonna just take the highest and best offer from all the offers they receive, period. So you have to make sure you put your offer first. And another thing you want to mention here is that people are putting above asking price offers, guys. Make sure they're aware of that. That is the market today. And explain to them how it works. That basically, at the end of the day, it is contingent on appraisal, which we talk about a little bit now a little later in the presentation. It's contingent on appraisal, so that's the strategy a lot of buyers use. They'll offer above asking price to hook the property, knowing it probably won't appraise. So they say, well, I'll offer $15,000 above asking. It's not going to appraise that high. So let's say it appraises at the purchase price, at the original asking price or close to it. Most of the time, seller will say, all right, well, it didn't appraise. It appraised at pretty much what I thought I was going to get from the beginning. So I'll go ahead and drop the price, and then the buyer gets it. But what it does is, the buyer who went and offered 10, 15,000, they were the ones that won. They're the ones that now get to move into their dream home that they love, just because they went and overextended. Now that's a gamble, because maybe the property does appraise higher, and you might have to pay higher. Okay, but at the end of the day, we're in a seller's market. There's not a lot of great properties that are hitting the market. They are a lot of great properties, but the problem is there's even more buyers. Okay, so you want to let them know, make them aware of that part of our market right now. The other thing I put there, the closing date. If you can be flexible on the closing date, the seller more likely to choose your offer over others. What I mean by that usually is, can you close sooner? You know, buyers sometimes, you know, I want to close in 60 days, 45 days. So right now, I mean, if you can close in 30 days or less, if you could do 25 days even, your offer would look a lot more nicer to the buyer. I mean, to the seller. And in some cases, the opposite happens. Sometimes the seller needs more time. So if you can be flexible on your closing date, you'll be, you know, it's good for you. Escrow deposit. The higher the escrow deposit, the more serious and better your offer will look to the seller. So that initial escrow deposit, usually I recommend it's anywhere between like usually about $5,000, depending on the purchase price. But if you can put, you know, $7,500 or $10,000 as that initial deposit, your offer will look a lot stronger and a lot more serious. So basically, the seller will look at it as this person has every intention to close because they put $10,000 on the line versus all these other offers that only put $2,000 or $3,000. Okay. There's other things, guys, but then at this point, it's you're getting into so much. The whole point of this buyer consultation is maybe to go, you know, 45 minutes, you know, something like that, between, I would say 45 minutes to an hour. So you can talk about, yes, you can talk about inspection period being less, and we do get into that a little more now. You can talk about other things that you can put to lower to make your offer look better, but I don't get into it here because we're going to talk about that coming up, and it gets a little redundant, and you don't want to fatigue the buyers with too much information. Additional property. Often the sale of the property includes all major appliances in the home. However, which items stay or go can be a matter of negotiation. That I put there because, again, another thing that just educating the buyers. A lot of new buyers are always asking that. I mean, what am I getting when I buy this house? Which is essentially the property as is with all the major appliances most of the times. Down here, I put a little explanation of how it works, the offer process. So we will present your offer to the listing agent and or the seller. Okay, the seller will then do one of the following: they'll either accept, they'll decline, or they'll counter the offer with changes. So they might change the price, they might change the closing date, they might change the escrow deposit, they might change the title company, they can change anything. So by far the most common is the counteroffer. In these cases, my experience and negotiation skills become powerful in representing you, representing your best interest. When a counteroffer is presented, you and I will work together to review each term, making sure that we move forward with your goals in mind and ensuring that we negotiate the best price possible and the best terms on your behalf. So that's essentially what this whole page is. Just educate them on making an offer, guys. And the biggest thing is you want to set the expectation from the start that when you're going to send the offers, you're sending offers based on you know, what the comps are and what the buyer activity in the area is. So if you're in a hot area where, listen, there hasn't been any active properties here in the last 2 weeks, so I know that this property is going to go within, you know, 48 hours. You know, there's no time to, you know, send a low ball offer. You know, if they really want the house, you know, put the offer that you need to put, and let's keep it moving. Sending a low ball offer, it's just, in our market right now, it just doesn't work. You know, it's, you know, another challenge that I come up here and I tell people, and I really do this, and I really do this, and I don't know. For me, it works, but I get buyers telling me, yeah, but you know what? My cousin told me that he just bought a house and over there, and he got them to drop the price, you know, 25,000, 30,000. And I always tell him, listen, your cousin's probably just, he's just showing off. He probably didn't do that. He's just lying to you. Okay. I literally will say that. So be careful with that. It depends. But I don't know. I say that in a way that, you know, because the way my personality comes off, it works, because they really think, no, but my sister, no, but my mom, you know. And sometimes they did that years ago. Okay, well, that was years ago. There's a different market now. The market is just doesn't allow for that right now. It doesn't allow for those price reductions, you know. And then a lot of times they don't give you the full side of the story. Your cousin tells you, "Oh, I was able to bring down the price 30,000." Yeah, it probably maybe it was already overpriced and it didn't appraise. Like they leave little things out. So that's how family is. You go to the family barbecue and they're trying to tell you, your cousin, your brother, whatever. They're just trying to tell you how they were able to get a better deal than you can. 1%. Yeah, they tell you they got a 1% interest rate. Like what? So don't. So I'm telling you that happens all the time. It happens all the time. Well, my family this, my mom this, my dad this. Guys, they're just So be careful with that, guys, and just let them know that the way the market is now is not the way it was a year ago, and the way the market is today won't be the same a year from now. It changes. Okay. Um, Another great thing to bring up, guys, is when it comes to making an offer, is making sure they know that right now with rates being low, it's much better than buying now with rates being low than waiting until prices go down and rates go up. Okay. If you do the math, it just makes sense to buy where rates are low. All right. All right, guys. Next is contingencies. So you want to talk about the contingencies, very important. You want to get this out of the way now so they kind of have a good understanding. And I'm not going to go so deep into these guys, but it's inspection period, financing contingency, and appraisal contingency. So these are very important contingencies that you're going to have in your contract. Your inspection period is basically the period of time that you're going to have to conduct inspection, make sure you're happy with the property conditions. And if there is something wrong, we can either negotiate the price again, we could ask the seller to fix it, we can ask for a seller credit, which I recommend personally, the best. Or if it's too much of a major issue or we can't get the seller credit that we want, you can always back out of the contract and get your deposit back. So explain to them that inspection period. Usually that inspection period is on average 5 days, 7 days, sometimes 10 days. It just depends on what the current situation calls for. If we're up against multiple offers, we're gonna want to probably shorten that to about 5 days or so. So make sure we have an edge over other offers. If the property's just sitting there, it doesn't really have any offers, then we could probably put 7 days or 10 days. The financing contingency. Now I wrote this very I explain here what happens. The financing contingency protects the buyer and seller from getting into a real estate sale without proper loan. Under this contingency, the buyer has a specified period of time to obtain a loan approval for a loan that will sufficiently cover the price and terms agreed upon in the purchase price. If the buyer can't get a loan approval within the specified time, the buyer has the right to walk away from the sale with their escrow deposit. So remember the financing contingency, guys. If they don't get the loan approval within time, within whatever it is, 25 days, 30 days, they can back out and get their escrow deposit back. Okay. Eager buyers and sellers may want to waive this contingency in a hot real estate market, especially if a cash offer is on the table. It's important to note that waiving this contingency means that if the mortgage lender delays or denies you for the loan, and after the seller accepts your offer, you can and most likely will lose your escrow deposit. So that $5,000, $10,000 down, you're very likely to lose it because you waive that contingency. You don't have that protection. Okay, so these are contingencies that protect the buyer essentially. So you want to make sure you kind of explain that to them. So a lot of times people get worried about that escrow deposit. How can I lose it? It's very hard to lose your escrow deposit because you have your inspection period, you have your financing contingency, and the contract does have a built-in appraisal contingency, but you could also use the appraisal contingency addendum. But you have a lot of things protecting you. Pretty much, I've been saying it for years. The only reason you can lose, and I've been saying that to buyers for years, the only way that you can lose your deposit is if after your inspection period, you decide to walk away for any reason. That's essentially pretty much the only way you can lose your deposit. Okay. The other way you can lose your deposit is if me, the realtor, I mess up and I'm not paying attention to the deadline for the financing contingency, or I'm not paying attention to these deadlines and we pass them and now you don't get the loan and then I screwed up because I didn't extend it or something like that. So I don't worry about that because I know I'm not going to mess that up. Okay. But as far as the buyer's concerned, that's pretty much the only way he's going to lose it is if is if he walks away. He says, yeah, you know, I don't want the house anymore. All right, yep, you're gonna lose your deposit. Okay.
Question.
Yeah.
Okay, so you say that the contract already has an appraisal.
Mhm.
But what's the difference between that and additionally adding the appraisal contingency addendum? Like, why do people use that
Yep.
if the contract already says it?
So I think so. This is where it comes from. This is just me, honestly. So yes, he asked. The contract has a built-in appraisal contingency, but there's an appraisal contingency addendum. So why is that, and what is the difference? So me personally, my personal opinion on that, the appraisal contingency has been there forever. Has been there since I started doing real estate. That addendum, I'm sorry, the addendum has always been there. The built-in appraisal contingency, that was just like maybe 2 years ago where they sort of added that in there and made it clear that buyer gets their deposit back if the loan doesn't close due to the appraisal being lower. So they just recently added that. So I just think they just added that, but didn't remove the appraisal contingency addendum. You know, so in the past, probably 3+ years ago, 3 maybe 4, whenever they added it, you had to use the appraisal contingency addendum. But more recently, you don't have to. But is there a difference? It more transparency. It makes it super clear to everybody. You know, that hey, this is contingent on appraisal, so you're more than welcome to use it. But sometimes I tell agents it's built into the contract. It says it right there, page 3, somewhere around the top paragraph, that if the loan doesn't close due to an unsatisfactory appraisal, buyer may cancel contract and return their deposit to them. It says it there.
I never signed the appraisal contingency addendum, like I
You're fine.
never use it, and I still think I'm fine. I've
Yep.
never had an appraisal issue.
Yep.
But
Oh, you're lucky. You've never had an appraisal issue? Wow.
wait, no, I'm lying. I did. I'm lying. I did. So the house was selling for 450 and it
Uh-huh.
came back at 420.
Yeah. Well, okay. Cool.
You have an appraisal?
The addendum, I mean, not the addendum. It had the addendum.
Yeah, and all the appraisal contingency does just, you know, it just makes it so buyers not forced to buy it at what the original price is. So it's very so I, you know, for many years, guys, this whole appraisal thing, that's why I think they added it to the contract. There's always been that addendum, but they added that to the contract to make it clear. But you have to remember that the contract is contingent on financing. And I'm not an attorney, but I try to play attorney when I say this. But the contract is contingent on you obtaining financing for the terms that you applied for. It says that for what you're applying for what the contract says. So when you're applying for a loan, the terms are, let's say the house is 500,000. The terms are that you're applying for a loan at 500,000. Okay. So if the loan doesn't if the appraisal doesn't appraise at 100,000, let's say it comes back at 450, you can no longer meet the terms of the contract. So even before they added that, I used to always kind of argue that, but now it's in the contract, or you can use the addendum. It's really fine either way. And I put, so here down, guys, to finish up, appraisal contingency. With this contingency, an appraiser is hired by the lender, evaluates the fair market value of the current home for sale. In the event that the appraised value proves to be less than the agreed upon sales price, the appraisal contingency lets you back out of the deal. And then it gives you a little bit of an example to clarify, which basically says, here's an example of what can go wrong if you waive the contingency. Let's say you have a fixed rate loan that covers 90% of the purchase price, and you need to put 10% down for a home selling at 500,000. 10% would be 50K. If the property is appraised at 475, the lender's only going to cover 90% of the appraised value, 475. In this case, instead of a $50,000 down payment, you would be expected to put down 72,500 to cover the difference. So that's exactly what could happen if you waive the appraisal contingency. You'll be putting in the money. You're basically committing to buying the property of what you're offering, regardless of what it appraises at. Guys, so basically, I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. It's a simple package. It's a simple package that you're able to present to your buyers, that you're able to The last page here, contact me, agent name, email, phone number, office, online. Put your social media, put all this information. Know that sometimes, guys, you're gonna have you'll do these meetings through Zoom, and you'll tell them, hey, I'm gonna email you a copy of this so you can have it and refer to it later. I would recommend if you do it in person, print this out, give it to the agent. The last page will have your contact info. This first page will have your contact info. So this is on our marketing platform, guys. So if you go to our marketing platform, oh, by the way, this little page here is also going to be included. So this little page will be included, house hunting tips. So you can put here, we share with you our best tips for home purchasing. And it just says things like, drive by the home at a different times of the day to get a good feel for the neighborhood. Write down the most important features that you like and don't like. Make sure the rooms have enough storage to fit your needs. You can edit this stuff as well if you want to have your own tips that you prefer. But this page is also going to be added on there. Probably by the end of today, they should add it on there. But this whole buyer consultation package will be in the marketing platform, and there's going to be a second version of it probably within the next week or so. So I'm going to have this version, which I personally like, very clean, just simple to the point. But I'm going to have another version there that kind of looks more like the rest of the things look in our marketing platform, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to have another version there that just kind of looks a little more like the other things. Like if you've looked at the listing presentation, sort of like that. So there'll be two versions. You can use them, edit them. Now the key to this, guy, is make sure you kind of have this set up and ready to go. Even if you don't get a chance to meet with a client, even if you're just trying to, hey, here, let me give you my buyer consultation package. It gives you a bunch of information on the home buying process, and it prepares you with what you need to know. Even if like I would hand this to a buyer, even if I felt like, oh, they're not setting the appointment, they're not being so responsive to me, send it to them, email them, hey, attaches my buyer's consultation package. Please read to it. It has a great amount of information on the home buying process. It tells you everything you need to know, and it's gonna tell them about you. It's gonna give them some information about you. Get to know me a little more. It's gonna talk about the steps. It's gonna talk about the loan process, making an offer time. It's gonna have a lot of great information that you can provide. So don't wait to set this up until an hour before you need to do a meet with a buyer. Set this up now, guys, and as you're working with buyers, are people coming in, send this email to them. It's a great source of information. It's almost like sending them like a little ebook. We'll be adding to this, guys. One of the things I always say is we're always adding more. We're always trying to grow. We're always trying to do more. I do want to add a page of which is not here because we never had it before either. But I want to add a page that talks about closing costs. So I want to add that. Other than that, that's pretty much how it's gonna be. We might add here there every time we add a little something, it might be minor. So every once in a while, go back to the marketing platform and look at it to see if we've added anything. But if I add anything major, I would let you guys know. But it'll be tweaked here and there. What's up, Jesus?
Maybe what the title does, like what the title is entitled. I know you talked about the title in one of the pages, but it was very brief.
I mentioned it in
there. Highlight the
yeah.
importance
of title. I can add a page for that.
The importance of title, like what is it that they do for real? Because a lot of people think that the title is just, like the closing day, when the title has a lot more to do with the purchasing.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that
like,
suggestion.
Why are they paying for title is the most important part. Like, why are you paying for title? You're paying for title so that you can find liens that are maybe hidden in the title, or not just the closing.
Yeah, and if you guys any suggestions you guys have, I'll always look at it. Where exactly is this going to be uploaded? It's going to be uploaded where it says, for now, I think it says presentations or listing presentation. It's going to be on there. I don't know if it's there yet, but it will be within the next like 30 minutes or so. I got to add it in there. but it's gonna be where it says, I believe, I'm gonna change it. If it says listing presentation, I'm gonna make sure it says presentations. So let me, so you go to create new design. And yeah, here, I'm gonna change this to say presentation. Or I might just make it its own category, but it's gonna be in here, guys. That's where I probably will put it. It's not here yet, but I'm gonna add it now. I'm gonna add it shortly. Okay. Got it. All right, guys. Any other questions? Anything else? Use this, guys. We're gonna go over the listing presentation. I think it's either next week or the week after. I gotta look at the calendar. But we'll go over that next. But use this home buyer. Another thing that I want to do, and I hope I can do this over the next few days, is I want to record a real buyer presentation. I'm gonna try to see if we can do it over Zoom. But I want to do a real one. I don't want to like fake it, you know. I don't want to. If I'm gonna try to purposely do one over Zoom, and then record it and put it on our YouTube page so that you can see that. That way, you guys can kind of really see how it flows and kind of see how it goes. But essentially, you're just going through the slides and you're having a conversation with the clients. Jennifer, you go back. So when you go to create new design, you click here where it says listing presentation. You click here and it'll be on there. All right. All right, guys. Any other questions? Anything else? Oh my, we kept it just about an hour, which is awesome. Got it. Thanks. All right, guys. So remember, set it up. You'll be able to go in there in the next 15, 20 minutes and be able to see it, start customizing it with your information. Have this ready to go, guys. When you're getting leads, you're working with clients. This is a great tool. Again, either when you meet with them during the buyer consultation, or if they're being hesitant for an appointment, send it out to them. Maybe they'll read it and they'll be like, oh, okay, you know, this realtor seems very helpful, very professional. Let me give him a call and see if he can help me with my home search. So use it, guys. It's a great tool. And hopefully what it does is it helps you convert more buyers into actual clients and start your home search with them. All right. All right, guys. So that's what I got for you guys today. Tomorrow, don't forget Broker Mint, 10 a.m. That one shouldn't take very long. You'll probably be in there like half an hour. But Broker Mint, please, is super, super important. So I want you guys to get on there and really learn how to use it. All right. All right, guys. Thanks for showing up. I love the participation. I love it. We had at some point we had over 20 people on here, which is awesome. And then we got a couple people here in the office as well. So keep it up, guys. I love the fact that you guys are always willing to learn, always training. Thank you, May. All right, Rocio, take care. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and end the chat, end the call now. All right, you guys have a great day. If you guys need anything, reach out. All right.
Put it in here in listening presentation.
Yeah, I'll do it right now. I forgot to do it.
There's two in here.
I think I'm just gonna call it presentations. Just throw it in there.
Because I didn't know what this one was, but I figured out this is home selling because you put home selling. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna figure out what the fuck this is.
Yeah, they're both.
Wait, the second one. Lead Angel had a lead here.